To all the geeks and nerds out there, welcome back to another episode of Simply Minecraft. This is a series where each episode we take a look at one aspect of the game and try and make it as easy and as simple as we can. Today we are looking at this very simple glow squid farm. This farm will produce over 23 stacks of glow ink per hour and is extremely easy to build. So if you want to learn how to build it and how it works, then stick around. Before we get into the block by block tutorial, let's have a quick tour of this farm and explain how it works. So here is the farm. It is very simple to build up in any kind of world. So if you need a little bit of glow ink for those glowing signs, then this is the farm for you. So inside this box, we have 25 water columns. The glow squids spawn inside those water columns. They then swim outside, fall down and land on these magma blocks. You can see there that their drops are deposited on top of the magma blocks. And underneath we have this hopper minecart that goes backwards and forwards. And then once it comes back and returns to this drop off station, all of the ink is deposited in these chests for your storage. Of course, you can extend that, make that bigger if you need to. But yeah, this is pretty straightforward. So above the farm as well, we have an AFK spot, and that is in a very particular position to make sure the squids swim out of the water columns. An unfortunate casualty of this farm is the axolotls. They have the same spawning conditions as the glow squid, and unfortunately they get killed off by this farm as well. So let's talk some technical details and exactly what the spawning conditions are for the glow squid. And as we said, the glow squid and the axolotl share the same spawning conditions and also the same mobcap, so we have to kill them off in this farm. But you could adapt this if you want to trap some axolotl, I'm sure. But yeah, let's get into the details. So there are 4 things to consider in terms of the spawning of the glow squid. So first of all, we need to have some water. Here we have the water. This can be flowing water or water sources. So here we have 25 water columns. You can see that the water is held back by these gates here. These fence gates, that's to stop the water flowing all over the place, but also these gates don't have a collision box, so when the glow squid fall out, they are not trapped on top of these gates. They just fall through them and land on these magma blocks to be killed. Next, let's talk about the light level. So glow squid need 0 light, so total darkness, so a light level of 0. Now, if you go inside the farm here, you'll notice that if I come down to the bottom here and I turn on my mini HUD overlay, you can see that the light level down here is at light level 3. That's because the magma blocks emit a little bit of light. But when we come up, you can notice that it goes to 2 and then 1. But when we're inside the water, we're at light level 0. And that is what the glow squid need to spawn, light level 0 inside the water. So that is all good. The other thing you'll notice about this farm here is that we've surrounded the outside in this tinted glass. That is not required for your farm. I've only done that for demonstration purposes for this tutorial, so you can see inside the farm as it works. And I've got a night vision potion on as well, so we can see what's happening. But yeah, when you build this farm up, and that's what we'll do in the world in a second, is we'll just dig a hole underground, and that is all you need. But if you do want to see inside, then a little bit of this tinted glass, will help out. The next one is easy. It's the location. We need to build this farm below sea level. So the top block here needs to be below Y63. So if I again turn on mini HUD and look at this block here, you can see I'm looking at Y62. So as long as you're below sea level, then the glow squid will spawn in the water. And lastly, you'll notice we've got these andesite blocks underneath all the water columns. That is because you need a stone type block within 5 blocks of the water for the glow squid to spawn. Now, it doesn't need to be andesite, it can be any stone block. And in fact, here is a list of the stone blocks you can use. And it doesn't need to be all the same block. You can use a mix and match of these if you want. So you can use stone, deep slate, andesite, diorite, granite or tuff. So they're the blocks you need to put underneath the farm just in here. So that is the technical details of the glow squid spawning, but there's one more thing to talk about, and that is the range of this player above on the AFK spot. Here we have my trusty droid assistant, Logical Geekbot, and he is acting as the AFK player above the farm. But why is he in this exact position? Well, he is 24 blocks away from the farm. Why is that? Well, that is because no mobs will spawn within 24 blocks of a player. And I can show you that again by using mini HUD. Here we have a sphere with a radius of 24 blocks, and you can see that is centered on Logical Geekbot over there. And you can see that this sphere just stops just above the farm here. So glow squid can spawn outside of this sphere, but not inside. So if you're too close to this farm, then glow squid won't spawn at all. So that's something to consider. Make sure you're high enough. Now, why are we here and not further up? Well, there is another sphere to take into account. And that is this sphere. This is a sphere with a radius of 32 blocks. And you can see that this one just comes just underneath the farm just here. What does this one do? Well, if a mob is between 24 and 32 blocks away from the player, then their AI kicks in and they will move around. So this is what we want. We want the glow squid to spawn inside the columns and then start swimming. And when they swim to the left or the right, and they swim outside of the farm. Now, if you're too far away from this, what can happen is the glow squid will spawn in the water, but then just sit there and just not actually move at all. So you need to have your player in just the right spot. So if you build up 24 blocks and have your player there, that is the ideal location. The last thing to go over is just how the drop-off system works. This is pretty standard, but for those that don't know, let me just quickly cover that. So what happens is the minecart will come back over here, and at the moment you can see that this powered rail is in the on state, but what happens is when the minecart comes over this hopper, it will start depositing items. That's noticed by this comparator, which powers this block, which then depowers this torch, which depowers this block, which depowers the repeater here, which depowers this block, which of course then depowers this this rail just here. So you can see as it comes in, it just stops, and then it goes off. So it didn't have much to drop off then, but basically that will depower this this rail here while the items are being deposited. Once the items have finished being deposited, that will empty out this hopper again, which then turns all of this back on again and the powered the rails again, so then the minecart can shoot off. So that is how the drop-off system works. Pretty standard and straightforward. I've also added this lever here, so if you flick this lever, it turns it all off. So no matter what's happening, once the minecart comes back, it will stop on this rail. So that's good for any kind of maintenance you might want to do. We're back in a Simply Minecraft world, and we need to work out where we're going to build this thing. You can build it pretty much anywhere over the land. I wouldn't advise putting it near the ocean because for obvious reasons of all the water that's there. But yeah, if you go inland, then pretty much anywhere is a good spot. But we do need to prepare the area to a certain degree. We need to make sure that the glow squid can only spawn inside our farm and nowhere else. So I've put this block here. This is going to be our AFK spot. So what do we need to do? Well, I'm going to show you yet another sphere. So I'm going to turn mini HUD on again, and here we have a sphere with a radius of 128 blocks around the player, which is going to be centered on this block. That's where we're going to be AFKing. What we need to do is we need to make sure that glow squid can't spawn anywhere else and only inside our farm, and for that we need to remove any water that could be spawnable. So we need to go underground and we need to look around and see what we can find. So we need to look underground here and see, is there any water below sea level that is in total darkness, and if there is, we need to get rid of it. Otherwise the squids can spawn inside that kind of area, and then if they do, they won't be able to spawn inside our farm. So if we look up here, for example, we've got this little cave and it's got some water in it. Glow squid can spawn right in here. It's in total darkness. We've got the stone underneath it. So if the glow squid spawn in here, they won't spawn in your farm, and they will fill up the mob cap, and that means that no other mobs can spawn. So we need to get rid of all of that area. So if you can, have a look around and see if you can find any other water sources underground and remove them. So this can be tricky depending on how you play the game. If you've got a second account that you can get into spectator mode, like a camera account, you can have a quick scoot around underground and look for any of those water sources and then go remove them. If you don't have that, then maybe get the seed of your world that you play on, open up a new world, a new creative world using that same seed, and then you can look around. Here we go. There are some glow squids spawning over there. I can see them in the distance. So we need to get rid of that water as well. So that is inside our sphere. So that's what you need to do. You basically need to get rid of all the other water. Now, the farm will still work, but it will slow down because those glow squid will spawn there. They will despawn over time, and then that frees up the mob cap for your glow squid to spawn inside your farm. The other thing to consider is if you play on a multiplayer server. If there are players somewhere else in the world, and they are loading glow squid, then that means they will fill the mob cap, and that will slow down your farm as well. So playing on a multiplayer server and you're not getting any drops, that's probably why there are other players online. Now 1.18, that is going to change. I even made a video about this as well, so I'll link that in the description below if you want to see more details about how mobs spawn on a server and what we could do to fix it. And in fact, Mojang have done just that. They have implemented pretty much exactly what I said. I'm sure it's nothing to do with my video. I'm sure they already had the idea, but yeah, that is another improvement coming to 1.18. Now you may well be asking, what about all this water here? This is inside the sphere. What about this water? Are we not going to get any glow squid spawning? And what about normal squid? We've got normal squid spawning right here. Now, first of all, normal squid is in a different mob cap, so they do not affect how glow squid spawn. So we don't need to worry about those guys. They can just hang around here, no problem at all. But what about here? Is this water spawnable for glow squid? Well, the answer is no, for two reasons. First of all, down here, the light level is not level 0. If I turn on mini HUD again with our light level, we get down to light level 7 because the light comes from the sky. It does diffuse as it goes through the water, but down here at the very bottom, we're only at light level 7, so of course it's too bright. The glow squid can't spawn here. And if we go around here and look at the surface, none of this is stone blocks. We've got sand and dirt and gravel, that kind of stuff, but yeah, we need to have stone underneath. So generally speaking, when it comes to these kind of areas, you don't need to worry about this kind of water. We haven't got to do a big draining of this kind of rivers and whatnot above ground. They can be ignored. It's just the water that's in total darkness below sea level. I've given myself a night vision potion and I've explored underground inside the radius of our sphere, and I've cleared out all the water that could be spawnable, so we should be pretty good now to build up the farm. As I said before, I've left the water on the surface. We don't need to deal with that stuff, but yeah, we are now ready to build up our farm. Right, before we build the farm up, let's talk about the resources you're going to need. Now here is a list of all the materials that are from the schematic of the farm that I already showed you. Now the schematic for this farm will be available for download in the description. I'm going to have that on the Buy Me a Coffee page as we did before with the raid farm. So yeah, you can go over there, download the schematic for free. If you've got a spare couple of dollars and you want to support the channel, then there's an opportunity there to stick a couple of dollars in the jar for me to buy a coffee and keep myself caffeinated, ready to build more farms. Now this material list is not entirely accurate, so we don't need the tinted glass as I said before, so we can ignore that. Also, this white concrete here, I used this on top of the farm in the design you've already seen. We don't need that because we're going to just be digging a hole in the ground and we can use the stone that's already there. Likewise, the stone concrete, this red concrete down here, we don't need that as well. That's just used as marker blocks for placing the rails in the right place. So these ones we don't necessarily need, and also the concrete, that is just going to be used, the stone blocks that are around. So here is the actual materials you're going to need. So not too many blocks at all. The magma blocks are the biggest block you're going to need. Obviously some rails, but we've got an iron farm on the channel if you want to generate some iron, or you can mine that up. It's not too much needed. Obviously here we've got andesite. That's the 25 blocks of andesite you need underneath the farm. As I said before, that could be any of those stone types we've already talked about. Any kind of slab is just fine, something we can waterlog. That's all we need there, and then a few other redstone components underneath. The first step is to dig a big box. Now this box has to be obviously in a particular place and a particular size. So first of all, how big is it? Well, it is 11 by 11 and it is 9 blocks deep. That's the size of the hole. Now where is it exactly? If I turn on mini HUD, we can look at our coordinates. So it's probably best to look at the looking at block. So you can see the very bottom block here, this last row here, this is at Y53. And if we go to the very top, this one here, looking at this one, this is at Y61. Now it doesn't have to be exactly at this position. Obviously, as I said before, we just need to be below Y63. But if you do it here at Y61, gives you a couple of blocks leeway in case you make any kind of mistakes. But yeah, 61 here down to 53 here. You'll also notice that on two opposite sides, we need to dig out one block. So you can see we've dug out one block over here, and also on the opposite side, another block here. This is for some curved rails. Sometimes I've had experience where we've had minecarts going over curved rails and I don't pick up items above. So this is just to make sure that we don't miss any items with the minecart when it goes around. We'll start off by laying down our tracks for a hopper minecart. So come into any corner, it doesn't matter which one, and place a powered rail right in the corner. Then we need to have 2 normal rails, then a powered rail, and then 5 normal rails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then another powered rail, and then 2 more normal rails. So this pattern here we've just done, we're going to copy that on every single row. When you get to the end here, we're going to have 2 more rails, normal rails underneath so they can curve, and then we continue the pattern. So 2 rails, 1 powered, 5 normal ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then another powered, and then 2 normal ones, and then we're underneath the lip here, 2 more normal rails, and then we can continue this pattern and it curves around. So you can see here that the minecart is going to snake all the way along just like this. So follow this pattern all the way until the floor is completely covered in rails. Once you've covered your floor in rails, it should look something like this. You can see we've got our powered rails in the line just like this. So first of all, come to the corner where you started, break this block, put down a lever next to this block and then power it. That should power your first light rail that you put down over here. Now in the opposite corner, what you should do actually is leave this block empty, because what we're going to do here is break this block. We're going to get our hopper and point it into this stone block next to it. That's going to be our drop-off station. We'll come back to that a little later on. Next thing to do is to power all of these powered rails. So you need to do the same thing I'm going to show you on both sides, this one here and also this row here. So come over to one end, break these 2 blocks here and 1 block here, then get yourself a trapdoor, any trapdoor will do, and you place this at the bottom of this side block just here. Open it up, jump in, break this block, then you can close the trapdoor. You'll then scoot down into this kind of lower position. Then you can break these blocks here, and these blocks are directly underneath all of the minecarts. So now you need to dig into 11 blocks, and then what you need to do is once you've done that is place levers on the top and then power them. So if you do that for all these blocks, you should power all of your powered rails. Once you've finished placing all the levers, you can just come back here, open up the trapdoor, place down a block and come up, and you should notice that all of your powered rails are indeed now powered. Of course, now we can get rid of this trapdoor and fill this hole in. Next up, come to the corner where we added this hopper and then add a powered rail on the top. You can see here I've already cleared out some area for the drop-off system. So first thing to do is to come down here and add a double chest here in line with the hopper, and then one next to it on this side. Then add a hopper running into this double chest. Just over here, you might need to jump and press it in. There we go. And then add another double chest here. So this is going to go on top and here. So then any items go into this hopper, goes into this chest, into the hopper below here, and then into this chest here. Obviously, you can expand that down if you need to. Next, we can add the redstone. So come down here, make sure there's a block here underneath, and then we're going to add a comparator, just pointing out of the hopper just like that. then add a solid block next to it, and then behind it put a redstone torch. Then get a solid block on top of the redstone torch, and then get yourself a repeater and make sure it faces this way towards the rails. Then get another solid block here. That should power this rail. The last thing is, if you want, you can add your on and off switch just here, and then probably because this is where our switch is and where we can collect our items, you might want to dig up a big hole here all the way to the surface. That will give you access, and once you're up here, get yourself some ladders and place these down so you can get into the farm and collect your drops. Next, come back into the farm and come over to one of these rails here and break one of these rails temporarily. We'll come back and replace that in a second. And then pillar up 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now here we need to add, at this level, we need to add our stone blocks. So what you need to do now is come 1 block away from the edge and place a temporary block here, and then place a stone block here. So now we need to do this all the way along, alternating temporary blocks and solid blocks, and do this so we cover the whole of this area. So we should have a 5 by 5 of these stone blocks, whichever type you choose, totaling 25 stone blocks. Your farm should look something like this now with these 25 stone blocks. Now come down on top of each of these stone blocks and place a temporary block, and then add fence gates all the way around on each of these 4 sides. As you go around, you'll end up with some fence gates already done. So for example, when we put one here, we've already got this side. So now it's just a case of making sure all the other sides have got a fence gate. So do that on every single block. And then once you've done that, make sure you open up all of these fence gates so they don't block the squids when they fall down. Your farm should now look something like this. Make sure the gates are on all sides of those temporary blocks, and make sure all the gates are open. There are none closed at all. In fact, I've just spotted one there. There we go. Make sure they are all open. All right, so now for each block, stand on top. And what you need to do now is we need to break this block. We need to look straight up and break that block. Now we need to place a slab on top of that. You might need to jump, so press a slab there and then get a water bucket and waterlog that slab. The water will then flow into this block and get trapped by the gates there. Then you can move on to the next one. So now do this for every single slab, and then we're almost done. However, technically speaking, you don't necessarily need to put a slab in here. The only reason I've done that is in case you want to break the blocks above and it keeps the room nice and dark. But if you keep a block above this, you could just put a water source just in here. And then lastly, don't forget to remove your temporary pillar here and replace the rail. Next, come into the middle of your farm and take the coordinates down of this block. So this is the central stone block. So you can see we've got 2 here on this side of it, and there's 2 on this side over here. So take a look at your coordinates for this. So I'm going to use mini HUD as I normally do, but you've got this on your normal F3 screen as well. So look at this block, look at the targeted block, and take down those coordinates. So for me, it's 413, 56, minus 217. Once you've noted down those coordinates, because we'll use those to position our AFK spot correctly in a second. So the last thing down here, come over to where you started laying your rails, which is the opposite corner to where your drop-off system is, and start laying down your magma blocks here at this level. So basically fill this whole layer in with your magma blocks. Make sure you work your way back into the corner where our drop-off station is, because we've already got this hole that we can escape. So let's come down here. The last thing to do is get your hopper minecart, place it on top of this rail, and it should go off. You should see it coming backwards and forwards. Let's just make sure it's coming. There you go. So it's moving backwards and forwards, and it'll bounce off the back there and then return. What you can do now is we can come back up onto the top surface, and now we can set our AFK point. Now come up on top of your farm and find the central block. So use the coordinates that we noted down before. So for me, it's 413 and minus 217. So that is this block right here. But now we need to go up to the right position. So basically add 30 to whatever your Y was. So for us, our Y was 56. So we need to pillar up until we get to 86. So here we are at Y86. That is where you stand for your AFK point. Now, depending on where you've built this farm, if you've built it much lower down, then of course your AFK spot will be lower as well. But just add 30 to that central block, that central stone block in the middle. Now, if you're high up like this, what you might want to do is add some ladders so you can get to your AFK point quite easily. Also, you might want to add a stone block on top just to make sure that you don't have any phantoms spawning above you at night time. Maybe enclose this in, that kind of thing. But I'll leave that up to you depending on your situation. I've asked my droid friend to come back and be the AFK player for us so we can check out the farm. So here he is on the AFK spot. I'm in spectator mode. So if I come down here now, we can have a look at the farm in its place. So here we can see that we are spawning our squids just as we need to. And the minecart underneath is going backwards and forwards, picking up all the drops. There we go. We can see them being sucked up, and it should come back here and get dropped off into the drop-off station. There we go. So it's emptying. And then once it's finished emptying, it should shoot off again, ready to collect the next round. Obviously, we've got the axolotls that are also dying, unfortunately. But there we go. Off the minecart goes. You can see underneath here's where we have all the levers that power all of the rails here. So that's all in place on both sides. And there we go. So here we can see all of this. Obviously, I've got a night vision potion on, so you can see. But actually, this farm is totally dark inside, and it's just this box inside the ground. So you can dig this out, and it's not too much problem. So there we go. That is the farm. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, before you type into the comments, my farm doesn't work, well, there are going to be two main reasons if your farm is not working. Reason number one is you haven't removed all the dark water in the radius of the AFK player. So make sure you do that first, because if you don't, then they will spawn elsewhere, not in your farm, and then you'll get much reduced rates. The other thing, as we already said as well, is that if there's other players online, if you play on a server, they might be loading the axolotls or glow squid, filling up the mobcap, and then there's no more to spawn in your farm. So they're the two reasons why your farm won't work if you've got it correctly. And in terms of removing the water, what you might want to do is build the farm up first, maybe scout the area first and try and find a place that doesn't have that many dark water underneath. But build the farm up first, make sure you know where the AFK's point is going to be, and then go around and make sure all the water is cleared. So there we have it, another Simply Minecraft farm in the bag. And if you want to download the schematic for this farm, then it will be available, a link in the description below on my Buy Me a Coffee page, just as we did before with the raid farm. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. And if you did, then please hit the like button. And if you're new, then feel free to subscribe. And if you've got any comments or suggestions, then get in that comment section. Alright my geeks, till next time, I will see you later.